Yeah. And is there any like specific situation or you know something that influenced you that made you decide to turn into vegan and to
Yeah. So it all started in 2019. I looked at this picture of myself in a bikini. I know this is a weird, like a weird start to it, but I didn't like how I looked, and I realized I wasn't happy with how I was living life. I didn't think I was very intentional. So it really started with me trying to be healthier. I wanted to lose weight, and that ended up with me thinking, I need to do something like outside of myself that will be better for like the planet. So I said, okay, then later on, I realized that going plastic free is not enough. I had to go further. So that's when I expanded my actions to be more sustainable, basically. And then I thought I was doing really well. There was this carbon footprint scoring sort of a quiz. And I'd have a really high score, but then it ended up that I didn't really get a really big score for that one because I wasn't vegan. I said, really? So that sort of planted the seed in my head that I need to do more. And so I sought out to watch more documentaries. And that's when I learned that, oh my God, I feel very betrayed. I didn't know all these things before. So that's when I decided to go vegan because I really emotionally connected with how our actions as humans are affecting the planet, affecting the animals that we are supposed to take care of. So yeah, that's a short
yeah, so
version.
that's yeah, that's actually like a pretty cool journey because you started like the awakening, just you being unhappy and unfulfilled with what how you look and everything. So it starts within us, right? No one will
Exactly.
ever hand it to us. So that's a really amazing story, Bella. I love it. Yeah, and also if you are into like if you will start something pretty much you need to research about it. And what I know, I mean, I tried to be a vegan before, but it didn't succeed. That you know, the protein comes from meat. That's what we know. Like most of the people know, right? So where do you get enough protein since it's really vital for muscle repair? Or
All
is
right.
this
So
true as well? Like
so
it comes from meat.
this is a very common misconception that we only get protein from meat, dairy, and eggs, which is really not true. This is current dietary guidelines, which actually encourages us to eat more plants. So the fact is, protein is found in all plants. Actually, 14% of total calories of every plant are protein. Now, don't take my word for it, but these are things that I have researched anyway. I'm encouraging you to have an open mind. Maybe this will plant a seed in your head, but do know that I am not an expert. And I do want people to take responsibility for their own health. And I encourage people to look up things that they hear about and not just like readily accept anything and everything that is thrown at them, because this is how I approach things when I decided to be vegan. So for a fact, broccoli contains more protein per calorie than a steak. It's surprising. And per calorie, spinach is actually about equal in protein to chicken and fish. Now, thing is, people are scared that that they'll get protein deficiency, which is actually rare in the industrialized world. In very poor countries, there is still poor protein malnutrition called kwashiorkor, but not in industrialized countries. Not certainly not in the UK, not in Europe. We're actually um, we're more plagued with chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke. Those kinds of things are more common. Now, just so to give you a little bit more information, in 2019, there was this huge study of 100,000 men and women who replaced animal protein with plant. That was associated with lower risk of dying prematurely. Another study, which was composed of 400,000 men, basically the largest cohort study for diet in history, swapping only 3% of your calories from animal sources to plants associated protein decreases 10% overall mortality. So basically, eating more plant protein is associated with living longer and being healthier. And actually, people who tend to eat more protein, they end up having shorter lives, but mainly that's driven by a harmful association to animal protein. So it's not about the protein, it's about the quality of protein that you are taking. It has been proven by science that protein is found in all plants. You can get your complete protein in plants. And I'm here. I've been vegan for what, like almost 3 years now. I haven't really died of protein deficiency. And we also have a lot of vegan athletes who are, who are making world records. Let's say Fiona Oakes. She's vegan and she's such a strong athlete. And they are proving that plant protein works.
Mm. Yeah, that's really true because as for me, when I turned vegan, it's just for 3 months only because I suddenly just shift my diet and I lose so much weight. So I just try to be vegetarian, not strictly vegetarian, but as much as possible, I don't want to eat meat. And yeah, with regards to that, Bella, like athletes who consume, who turn into plant-based, have you seen like Game Changer? I think you do because this actually opened my eyes, my mind about veganism. Like, wow, this is super crazy.
Yeah. In terms of like getting enough nutrients, you will lose weight when you're vegan because obviously there's less calories in plants. That's why you need to have you need to be planning your meals better. You need to be researching and making sure that you're not going into being vegan without being well informed. This is what I did. I just dove into everything. I made sure that every question I had, I got an answer for it. But I didn't depend on people. I just, I did it myself.
Yeah, that's all right. That's so amazing. So you already mentioned about like planning your meals and all of that. It's such a really good discipline for you then, because if how about when you go out like for gatherings, especially or community Filipino community gathering, how hard is it? Like the discipline being surrounded with this kind of food for you?
Because into being vegan, already having like had that journey of wanting to be very healthy and also having that journey of being an environmentalist and wanting to live a more sustainable lifestyle, going into being a vegan wasn't very hard. I had this very strong emotional connection, and I was thinking more of the long term effects of eating meat. When I knew about all the negative effects of eating animal products, I just said quite overnight, no, not anymore. It was because I have this very strong emotional connection. And I think this is why people find it hard sometimes to go vegan because they don't have that emotional connection. And I do. And so I didn't really ever have any moments of giving up. Never, ever. I've just made that decision because I know this is good for me, for my future, and for my future family, and actually for the future of the planet. So it hasn't been ever hard for me. When I go out to eat, it hasn't been hard because we're in London. I'm in London. It's one of the most vegan friendly places in the world. And actually, my friends and family have been amazing. They've been providing me with vegan food when they invite me. And if there is no vegan food, I just order food because I'm not there for the food. I'm there for the people. Um, I'm there for the people to spend time with them. It's food that I'm there for. So yeah, there are ways around it, and I know it must be hard for some people because let's say they live with other people, they have children, and they have husbands. I am fortunate enough to live alone and make my decisions with nobody like telling me off or nobody influence. So this is all me.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. So I think part of it as well are the people who surrounding you should be like supporting you along the way. No one should ever like question your decisions in life or the changes that you're making because it's yours for you and it's not for them but it's for you. So they should be like supporting. We should be like supporting each other, right? Not criticizing
Yeah.
or how to say, discourage anyone because we're doing something for ourselves and not for anyone.
So you want to know the difference between vegan, vegetarian, and plant-based?
Yes, please. For
Okay.
for the
So
yeah.
two of them only pertains to diet. Yeah. So when you talk about being vegetarian and being plant-based, we only talk about the diet. When you talk about being vegetarian, you don't eat, but you also eat dairy, cheese, eggs. So you eat those kind of things. When you say plant-based, um, I might be wrong, but this is just my own understanding. When you say plant-based diet, obviously with the name itself, you're just talking about the diet. Perhaps these are people who chose to eat plant-based because of the environment or for health reasons, but haven't really connected with the ethical part of it as to why we go vegan. Like we go vegan, we call ourselves vegan because we think that eating animals or eating not just eating but consuming any animal product is immoral, and it is moral to not consume any of them. So going on a plant-based diet, I think is just thinking about the diet, but not really about the ethical side of things, which moves on to being vegan, which means you do not consume anything animal at all, not just on the diet, but on every product that you use, in the toilet, in bath, in your clothes. So it's more of a life rather, and this is connecting to the ethical side of not
Mm,
consuming animal products.
mm,
It's
I
less
see.
about the environmental side of it, less about the health side of it, because vegan is focusing on the very
Mm.
ethical side of why we choose not to consume any animal product. So does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, I think so. It's somewhat like a movement not to hurt any animals or living
Yeah,
creatures. I think. Yeah. Explanation there.
not a diet.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. So, since right now we actually mentioned about the ethical part of being a vegan, what could be like an impact to our mother nature if, if significant number of people will turn into vegan,
A
not
lot.
only,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. There's been TED Talk studies saying that um, what we eat is going to change the world like in a huge way. So there's been an Oxford study. Look it up. Obviously, I can't talk about it here. I also didn't read all of it, but I know that people within the vegan space who are into these things have been saying these results of this Oxford study, which going vegan is the single biggest way that we can reduce our carbon footprint to as much as 70% every individual. So, as you know, we are in the middle of climate crisis. Some people don't believe this, but that's because they haven't been directly affected. But all over the world, people in the lower strata of society, those who are poorer, they're actually already feeling the effects of it. And we're all connected. We should really be caring about each other. So just by choosing not to eat plant-based products, we lower our footprint significantly. It reduces greenhouse gases emissions such as carbon and methane. I don't know about you guys, but our industry is huge. We literally slaughter billions of animals, land animals every year, and trillions every year in terms of sea animals. It's huge, and not talking about the cruelty side of it, that is also destroying our environment. If you watch Seaspiracy, you would have seen how much destruction fishing, industrial fishing is doing to our planet. We're literally having habitat loss at extreme levels. And when you're talking about land animals, a lot of the forest in the Amazon is actually being cleared because of the need for animal pasture. And also, if you have so many animals that need to be fed, what do we feed them? We feed them plants. Yeah. Let's say soya. People have a very negative connotation about soya. So, soya is destroying the world. It's not good for you. Okay, not talking about the health aspects of soya, which is very healthy. Um, a lot of the soya that is being produced is actually being fed to animals rather than to humans. Only 10% of the soya production all over the world is actually eaten by humans. Majority of it is actually fed to cattle. And the production of soya needs land. Yeah, so a lot of the forest is being destroyed so that we can grow plants, which is like soya, being fed to the animals and then being fed to us humans. So just with that, with eating plants, we decrease that that level of deforestation. Um, so there's also immense waste generated by factory farming. Um, from production to the slaughter, there's just such huge carbon emissions within the animal agriculture industry. It's very carbon intensive, not counting the methane that is produced by the animals, ruminants, cows, goats. They're called ruminants, and when they out air or when they let out waste, there is carbon and methane, which is much more potent than that. Remember the billions of animals that we have under the agricultural industry, animal agricultural industry, they produce so much of those just with existing themselves. In contrast to producing plant meat, only there's 90% fewer greenhouse gases actually just with plant meat. Um, the alternative. So
Alternative, yeah.
telling us that by eating plants, we're actually decreasing greenhouse gas emissions very, very significantly. And
Yeah.
that's what I say about that.
Oh, it actually blows my mind knowing this stuff. Because can you tell us more about sustainability and how it could create an impact to our mother Gaia? Like,
Yeah, well, to be very brief about it, we will get a much better world. Um, People, animals, the environment, we are all really interconnected and we have a duty to be taking care of each other. Yeah. But sadly, a lot of us humans, what we've been doing is more of destruction rather than taking care of what has been given to us. And it's not a coincidence that what is good for you, which is eating plants, is not just good for you, it's also good for the environment, right? And it's also the less violent. It is the compassionate choice. That's not a coincidence, because I believe that us humans, we are meant to be good and we are good and we all want to be good. And it's just for us to be more open-minded and actually, take the action to be that compassionate person, not just for yourself, but for the animals and for the whole environment. We do not really need a few people practicing sustainability or going vegan perfectly. We don't need that. What we need is billions of people taking consistent, imperfect action each day to make a huge impact. And that's what I can say about it. Little
yeah,
steps
that's
every by billions of people is going to make much more impact than just, let's say, you and me being very perfect environmentalists and vegans.
yeah, that's what I have learned as well. Like, we don't need to be perfect to start. Like, you just, cutting it slowly until you get used to it, and until you actually find the connection between the movement, because if we will start until we're ready, it's not going to happen, because being ready is a decision. It's not a feeling, it's a decision. You need to take to decide. So yeah,
Yes.
I totally agree. Yes, fast fashion is influencing or affecting
Yeah.
whatever we have right now. Yeah.
So fast fashion is also one of the leading carbon emitters in the world. They're not just harmful to the planet and to the animals that they use for the production of clothing, they're also really harmful to the people who make the clothes. Yeah. So most of the fast fashion products or brands that I don't know, I'm probably not going to mention them here, but I hope people know what fast fashion is. Um, they're kind of clothing producers, or they're people, or they're this big brands who keep on having all these trends. So they keep on producing so many clothes at a short span of time. Yeah. So how it is affecting negatively the planet? They're huge carbon emitters. Yeah. just with let's say bleaching of some of the clothes, making jeans, it's very water intensive. It's also using so many chemicals, which unfortunately goes into the rivers and the seas, which then leads to habitat loss, and it's also not good for the community surrounding these factories. And the sad thing is these factories are usually in third world countries like India, Bangladesh, these countries where there are already so many poor people. And the makers of these clothes are also in these third world countries. Now, these huge conglomerates of fast fashion industries do not pay these people a living wage, and these people are suffering. Yeah, and most of them are actually women. And it's there's already been this incident called the Rana Plaza incident. So because all these huge fast fashion industries and companies are refusing to pay at living wage or at a fair wage, factories in third world countries are competing against each other, and they're forced to bring down the prices just so they could get business. And what happened because of that, they don't have money to, let's say, get better infrastructure. I can't remember the date exactly, but there's a place in Bangladesh called Rana Plaza, which actually it well, basically the whole building crumbled. A lot of people died, and this opened the eyes of many people in the Western world how evil the fast fashion industry is actually. There's also a lot of greenwashing around fast fashion, and it's also a whole entire topic and can of worms that probably needs to be talked about in another live. But that's what I can say about it now. And there's
Yeah.
so much we can do right now, like just stop buying clothes, use the clothes that you already have. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's the thing. Like with the sustainability, it doesn't really need to be like super expensive, you know? You
Definitely.
can just start with whatever you have, and doesn't mean that you need to have new everything all the time, because if you are buying like quality over quantity, it will last longer and you cost effective, and it's more like, I don't know, like it's maybe it's just a part of us, but that's how it should be. Like you don't need something new, you don't need a lot of things. Minimalism, it's also related to minimalism, you know, like having less, feeling lighter, feeling better, happy life. So yeah, I think we actually imported a lot of value with this live session, Bella.
I hope
And I
so.
know, yeah, of course, I know you have a lot of things to say more deeper with regards to what you are really passionate about, and we can hop on a call maybe next time to talk about it.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, that's all. Thank you.
actually, the reason why we're both doing the same business is I want to free up my time to be educating people more about this. I think there's not enough people talking about it. A lot of people are still in the dark, and I'm very, very passionate about educating more people about this. And this is why I do the business that I do. So to free up my time
Mm.
so that I can give my time more into causes like this, teach people more about the importance of making little changes in our lives that have huge, huge impact.
Yes, and I'm so, so grateful to be connected with someone like you who's also into creating an impact and making a better place for us, for the next generation, and for everyone. So, yeah, Bella, can you tell everyone where can they find you on Instagram or any other social media account so that they can follow
Uh,
your journey?
oh yeah, it's Bellybone. Bellybone. I should be on the there's
Yeah, on here.
yeah, I also have TikTok. I can't even remember. It's probably the same Bellybone, but I use Instagram more.
We would love to connect with you. If you have questions, Bella will be there and I'll be here. And I think that's all for tonight.
All right,
All
and
right, Bella.
all right. Bye
Good.
bye.